What if I told you that wasting time isn't just about missing opportunities, it's about slowly but surely eroding who you really are? We all know time is precious, but we often forget how crucial it is to the person we become. Every hour spent in distraction, every moment lost to procrastination or aimless activity, chips away at our identity. Think about it, how many times have you let the clock tick by, only to realize that the time you've spent hasn't been invested in the things that matter most to you? It's not just about wasting a few hours, it's about losing the chance to shape your identity into the person you want to be. Your identity isn't something that's just given to you. It's something you create through your choices, your actions, and yes, your use of time. Every decision you make, every minute you choose to act with purpose, helps build the life you want. But when you waste time, you're not just losing opportunities, you're losing pieces of yourself. In this video, we're going to dive deep into how wasting time is a far more dangerous act than you might realize. It's not just about missed moments, it's about the irreversible toll it takes on who you are, what you stand for, and what you could have been. Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll not only understand why wasting time is slowly killing your sense of self, but you'll also learn how to take back control and start using your time to build a better you. Let's get into it. Time is one of the most precious resources we have, yet we often let it slip through our fingers without realizing the true cost. Most people view wasting time as simply a missed opportunity or a brief period of idleness that doesn't really affect the big picture. But here's the truth. When you waste time, you're not just wasting hours or days, you're slowly but surely eroding your sense of identity. The more time you spend not aligning with your values, not pursuing your passions, and not focusing on what really matters, the more distant you become from the person you could be. This isn't an abstract concept, it's something that deeply impacts your life, your relationships, and how you show up in the world. You might not realize it, but every unproductive moment is taking away from the life you could be living. Think about it for a moment. You have a vision of who you want to be, whether that's someone who's healthy, someone who's successful, someone who's constantly growing and learning, or someone who's making a positive impact on others. Yet, how many times have you found yourself getting sidetracked, wasting hours in front of a screen, engaging in meaningless activities, or procrastinating on things that truly matter? The truth is that these moments, no matter how small they seem at the time, are actually making a mark on who you are and who you're becoming. In many ways, time is a mirror of your identity. It reflects your priorities, your focus, and the way you choose to live. If you consistently choose to waste time, you're telling yourself that you don't value your future self. You're telling yourself that you're not worthy of the success, happiness, and fulfillment you deserve. And over time, that message becomes internalized. You start to believe that you're just someone who wastes time, someone who isn't able to make things happen, someone who doesn't have control over their life. It's like you're building a foundation on shifting sand, and every wasted minute is a crack in that foundation, making it harder to stand firm when challenges come your way. What's even more troubling is that the impact of wasting time isn't always immediately visible. It's easy to brush off a few minutes here and there, or to tell yourself that you'll catch up later. But the consequences of consistently wasting time add up in subtle ways. You don't feel the immediate effects, but over weeks, months, and years, it accumulates, leaving you with the bitter realization that you've missed opportunities to create something real. As time passes, the gap between who you are and who you want to be only widens. It's like a constant drift away from your goals and values. When you waste time, you also risk falling into a pattern of stagnation. Stagnation breeds apathy and frustration. Over time, you stop believing in your ability to change, and your sense of purpose starts to wither. The more you let time slip by without actively shaping it, the less connected you become to your true self. This creates a dissonance between who you are and the identity you want to cultivate, leaving you feeling disconnected and lost. Eventually, that lack of connection will start to bleed into every area of your life. Your career, your relationships, and even your health. Wasting time also impacts your relationships. We've all heard the saying, time is love, or time is the most precious gift you can give someone. Well, the opposite is true too. When you waste time, you're not just wasting your own life, you're wasting the time of those around you. Think about how much of your life is spent with others. Your family, your friends, your colleagues, your loved ones. They all rely on you to show up as your true self. But when you're disengaged, distracted, or procrastinating, you're not present. And when you're not present, you're not truly connecting with others. Relationships become shallow, interactions become meaningless, and you start to feel disconnected, both from yourself and from the people you care about. This doesn't just hurt the people around you, it hurts you too. It creates a gap between your ideal self and the version of yourself that you're actually showing the world. The most alarming part of wasting time is that you might not even realize you're doing it. It's easy to get caught in the trap of distraction, to think that you're doing enough when in reality you're not doing nearly as much as you could be. The world today is filled with distractions: social media, Netflix, endless scrolling, and constant notifications. These distractions give you the illusion of productivity or entertainment, but they steal your time and, more importantly, they prevent you from doing things that align with your true identity. You might feel like you're busy, but in reality you're just passing time mindlessly, without purpose. That's why it's so important to get clear on your priorities and make deliberate choices about how you use your time. If you're not intentional with how you spend your days, you'll look back in a few years and realize you've wasted valuable opportunities. Every moment you spend on distractions, procrastination, or unimportant tasks is a moment you're not investing in the person you want to become. The more you allow time to slip away, the more you distance yourself from your true self. But it's not too late to change. It starts with being aware of how you're using your time. Are you filling your days with things that align with your values? Are you spending time on activities that help you grow, build your identity, and reach your goals? Or are you simply passing time, allowing it to slip by unnoticed? It might seem like a small shift at first, but once you start being more intentional with your time, you'll begin to see changes, not just in your productivity, but in your overall sense of self. You'll start to feel more in control, more connected to your purpose, and more aligned with the person you want to be. The key here is realizing that time isn't just a resource, it's the canvas upon which your life is painted. Every moment is an opportunity to shape your identity, to make choices that reflect who you are and who you want to become. So ask yourself, what is your time saying about you? Are you using it to move closer to your ideal self, or are you allowing it to slip away unnoticed, without creating something meaningful? If you start treating your time as a reflection of your identity, you'll start creating a life that feels purposeful, aligned, and fulfilling. Now, imagine what could happen if you decided to stop wasting time. What would your life look like if every moment was spent in alignment with your values, goals, and dreams? How much closer would you be to the person you've always wanted to be? It's time to take control of your time and, in turn, take control of your identity. The two are more connected than you might think, and when you treat your time with the respect it deserves, you're respecting yourself and the life you're building. So let's take a moment and reflect. Are you ready to stop wasting time and start living in alignment with your true self? Because that's the first step toward living a life that's not just full of time, but full of meaning. Identity is not something that is static or fixed. It's a work in progress, a dynamic, ever-evolving process, shaped by your experiences, decisions, actions, and the way you use your time. In this section, I want to challenge the idea that identity is something you either have or don't have. Instead, identity is something you continuously build, refine, and recreate. Each moment is an opportunity to either strengthen or weaken your sense of self. But the unfortunate reality is that most of us are unaware of just how much our daily choices, especially how we spend our time, are actively shaping who we become. Your identity doesn't just emerge from big, life-changing moments. Yes, those pivotal experiences like a career shift, a major loss, or a transformative relationship shape you, but they are not the only building blocks. The smaller moments, the seemingly insignificant decisions you make every day, are just as important. They accumulate over time and ultimately define who you are. If you're spending your time in ways that don't align with your core values, then you're slowly constructing an identity that doesn't truly reflect who you are. And in doing so, you're letting time slip away without investing it in the person you want to be. Imagine a person who spends their days mindlessly scrolling on their phone, watching TV for hours, or procrastinating on the things they know they should be doing. This person is busy, but busy with nothing of substance. Each minute spent like this chips away at their self-concept. They may not notice it right away, But over time, these distractions begin to create a dissonance between their ideal self and the person they've become through their actions. They're caught in a cycle where they're not building the life they truly desire, they're building a life based on mindless distractions, inactivity, and choices that don't align with their goals. What happens when you don't spend your time with intention is that you stop growing. You stop moving forward, you stop shaping your identity. Every action you take, whether it's a decision to exercise, to read, to pursue a creative project, or to spend time with people who uplift you, is an act of self-definition. You are choosing who you are becoming with every decision. But when those decisions are filled with distractions, procrastination, or activities that don't add value to your life, you start to wonder who you really are, or where you're going. You become disconnected from your true self and drift through life, reacting instead of consciously creating. The power of identity lies in consistency. Every small decision and every action you take consistently reinforces your sense of self. That's why how you spend your time is so critical to the person you are becoming. When you spend your time doing things that matter, things that align with your values and long-term goals, you begin to feel more connected to your purpose. This connection to purpose is what helps you create a solid, grounded sense of identity. You start to feel more confident in who you are and more aligned with your values. But when you allow time to slip away in aimless pursuits, it's easy to lose that sense of direction. The more disconnected you become, the more difficult it is to figure out who you really are and what you stand for. What's powerful about this process is that identity can be consciously shaped. It doesn't matter where you start from, it matters where you choose to go. Your identity is malleable, adaptable, and capable of transformation. But transformation takes time, and it's the way you use that time that makes all the difference. When you invest your time in activities that nurture your growth, whether that's learning something new, taking care of your body, or cultivating meaningful relationships, you are slowly but surely creating a life that reflects the person you want to become. The reverse is also true. Every hour wasted in meaningless tasks or distractions takes you further from the person you aspire to be. It doesn't just rob you of your time, it robs you of your potential, your growth, and ultimately your identity. Think about someone who is constantly learning, reading, exercising, and connecting with others. Over time, they develop a strong sense of self. They are confident in who they are, clear about their values, and certain about what they want from life. But someone who spends most of their time procrastinating or stuck in unhealthy habits may find themselves feeling lost, uncertain, or disconnected. They may start to feel like they've wasted years, not realizing that the key to their frustration lies in the way they've spent their time. Identity is about showing up consistently as the person you want to be, but if your time is spent mindlessly, or worse, if you procrastinate on the things that matter most to you, you'll find yourself moving further away from your goals. Every time you choose to engage in activities that don't align with your values, you're saying no to your true self. You're allowing the distractions and the external pressures of life to dictate who you are instead of taking control and choosing who you want to become. There's a simple but powerful question that can help you evaluate whether you're using your time in a way that strengthens your identity. Am I becoming the person I want to be by doing this? This question doesn't require a deep philosophical answer, but it does require honesty. When you look at how you spend your time, ask yourself if the choices you're making are getting you closer to the person you want to become. If the answer is no, it's a sign that your time might be misaligned with your true self, and that's when the real danger of wasted time begins. The problem with wasting time is that it doesn't just keep you stuck in the present. It also has a compounding effect. When you waste time today, it becomes harder to make up for it tomorrow. The longer you let time slip by, the more disconnected you become from your true self. You start to doubt your ability to change, to grow, or to even know what's important anymore. But the good news is that no matter where you are in life, you can begin today. You can start by making small, intentional choices about how you use your time. With every action you take that aligns with your values and your goals, you'll begin to reshape your identity. It's not about making huge changes overnight. It's about consistently choosing to spend your time in ways that build your character, your strength, and your sense of purpose. Every small effort counts, whether it's dedicating time to learning a new skill, exercising to take care of your body, or spending time with people who support your growth, you're building the identity you want. And the more time you invest in those things, the more that person will emerge. Now let's ask ourselves the question again. How am I using my time? Are my daily choices moving me closer to the identity I want to create? Are they contributing to the growth and development of my true self? If not, it's time to reevaluate how you're spending your moments. The longer you put it off, the more difficult it will be to reshape who you are. But the sooner you start taking control of your time, the sooner you can start building the identity you've always desired. And it's not too late to start today. You've probably heard the phrase time flies, but have you ever stopped to really think about what that means? The idea that time is slipping away is often thrown around casually, but its true impact on our lives goes far beyond just losing track of hours or days. What's really at stake when you waste time is not just that you're missing out on activities, it's that you're missing out on your own potential. Time is a finite resource, and it's constantly ticking away. The question is, are you consciously spending it in a way that builds your identity, or are you letting it slip by without realizing how much of yourself you're losing in the process? Think about your goals, your dreams, and your deepest desires. Now imagine you could look back at your life and see all the time you've spent pursuing those things versus all the time you've spent doing anything but. How much closer would you be to your goals if you had used your time wisely? The painful truth is that many of us don't really know how much time we're wasting until it's too late. It's easy to get caught up in distractions or procrastination. We often find ourselves saying, "I'll start tomorrow," or "I'll do it when I have more time," but tomorrow never comes. And when we don't take those actions now, we risk never becoming the person we've always wanted to be. This is where the danger lies in wasting time. It's not just about missing opportunities. It's about the slow erosion of your identity. Time doesn't wait for you to get it together or find the right moment. It's moving, and the decisions you make today will impact who you are tomorrow. The more time you waste, the more disconnected you become from your true self. You start to feel like a shadow of who you could have been. You might be thinking, but everyone wastes time, right? It's just part of life. And yes, that's true to an extent. Everyone experiences moments of distraction, and not every second of your life needs to be filled with productivity. But there's a difference between taking a moment to relax or unwind, and consistently wasting time on things that don't add value to your life. The issue arises when wasting time becomes a habit. When you start to put off important tasks because they seem difficult or uncomfortable, or when you find yourself constantly seeking out distractions to avoid facing what really matters, that's when you start to lose control. And it's not just about the tasks you're avoiding, it's about the person you're choosing not to become. Time isn't something that can be replaced. Once it's gone for good. You can't go back and redo the hours you've lost to procrastination, distractions, or mindless habits. Sure, you can try to make up for lost time, but the real issue isn't about making up for it. It's about realizing that every minute you waste today is a minute you're not investing in who you want to become. Wasting time is a silent thief of your identity. It steals your confidence, your clarity, and your sense of purpose. Each day that you let slip by without actively working towards your goals or aligning your actions with your values is a day where your identity drifts further away from what it could be. Now let's talk about procrastination. Many of us have experienced it, but few of us truly understand its power. Procrastination isn't just about delaying tasks, it's a form of self-sabotage. Every time you put something off, you're telling yourself that you're not capable, not disciplined, or not good enough to tackle what's in front of you. Over time, this message becomes internalized, and the more you procrastinate, the more you believe that it's true. This isn't just frustrating, it's damaging to your self-esteem and to your identity. You begin to see yourself as someone who isn't able to follow through, who isn't reliable or consistent. This perception of yourself becomes a barrier, not only to your goals but to who you believe you are at your core. Procrastination also keeps you in a constant state of stress. The more you delay, the more pressure you feel. This pressure can manifest as anxiety, frustration, or a sense of hopelessness. But it's not the procrastination that causes the stress. It's the feeling that you're wasting your own potential. You know deep down that you're capable of more, and when you're not acting on that potential, it eats away at your sense of self. You start to feel stuck, unsure of who you are or what you want. This is because procrastination doesn't just affect your productivity, it directly impacts your identity. It prevents you from taking the actions necessary to become the person you're meant to be. Let's shift focus for a moment. Imagine someone who's constantly taking action, no matter how small the task. They make progress every single day, even if it's just by a little bit. Over time, this person begins to build a strong sense of self. They trust themselves, their decisions, and their abilities. Their actions are aligned with their values, and every step they take builds upon the last. They're not waiting for the perfect time to start, they're simply taking action and learning as they go. This is someone who's actively shaping their identity. They are in control even when things aren't perfect, because they are consistently making choices that bring them closer to their goals. This consistency and alignment with purpose is what makes their identity strong. In contrast, someone who spends their time procrastinating, making excuses, and letting distractions take over is giving away their identity piece by piece. They're not taking control of their future, they're letting external forces dictate how they live. This person is often reactive, rather than proactive. They're not deciding who they want to become, they're letting time and circumstances define them. And that's a dangerous place to be. The more you allow time to slip away, without making intentional decisions about how to spend it, the more you lose touch with your true self. The good news is that breaking this cycle is possible. The key is to start small. You don't have to overhaul your entire life in one day. It's about making small, intentional changes that add up over time. Start by identifying where you're wasting time, whether it's through procrastination, distractions, or activities that don't contribute to your growth. Once you know where you're losing time, you can start to reclaim it. The goal isn't to fill every second with productivity, but to make sure that the time you do spend is aligned with your values and your goals. When you use your time intentionally, you send a powerful message to yourself. You are in control, you are capable, and you are worthy of success. This shift in perspective is where real change begins. When you stop wasting time, you start taking control of your identity. Every action you take brings you closer to who you want to be. Every minute spent with intention is a minute spent building your best self. Time becomes a tool in your hands, one that you can use to shape your future. When you're intentional with your time, you start to feel more connected to your purpose, your values, and your true identity. So ask yourself, how are you using your time right now? Are you allowing distractions and procrastination to take away from who you want to become? Or are you taking intentional steps every day to build the life and identity you truly desire? It's not too late to start making those small changes today. Your future self will thank you for it. When it comes to building a strong sense of self, one of the most important factors to consider is the alignment between your actions and your true values. So many of us go through life trying to meet other people's expectations, or worse, living in a way that doesn't reflect who we truly are. And in doing so, we end up wasting precious time, and with it, a piece of our identity. What happens when you're constantly trying to fit into someone else's mold? Over time, you begin to lose touch with your own identity, your own desires, and your own purpose. You're no longer living authentically. Instead, you're spending your time fulfilling roles that others have created for you, without ever taking the time to ask yourself, what do I actually want? You might not realize it, but every time you act out of alignment with your true self, you're slowly drifting away from who you really are. This process can be gradual, so it's easy to overlook, but the consequences are significant. You start to feel disconnected, not just from the world around you, but from yourself. Over time, this gap between who you truly are and who you're pretending to be gets wider, and the more you allow this misalignment, the more you lose a sense of who you are and what you stand for. Think about the times when you've tried to live up to the expectations of others. Maybe you chose a career path that wasn't right for you, or you've been in relationships that didn't align with your values, all because you wanted to meet someone else's idea of what your life should look like. The danger of this is clear. As you spend time in roles that don't resonate with your true self, you begin to lose track of what actually matters to you. This isn't just about feeling like you're not living authentically. It's about how those choices, those hours and days, slowly start to disconnect you from your true identity. Living out of alignment with your authentic self can also create a deep sense of dissatisfaction. You might find yourself feeling drained, constantly seeking external validation, and wondering why you're not feeling fulfilled despite all the effort you're putting in. But the truth is that when your actions and your true self don't align, it creates a sense of inner turmoil. You're not being true to your values, which means you're living in a constant state of internal conflict. This emotional conflict can manifest in physical symptoms like stress, fatigue, or even anxiety. The longer you stay in this misaligned state, the more these feelings intensify. Let's take a look at a few real-world examples. Think about someone who is working a job they don't enjoy, simply because it's what their family expects of them. They might feel a sense of accomplishment or pride in fulfilling that role, but deep down, they're miserable. Every day they wake up to go to work, not because it brings them joy or a sense of purpose, but because it's a path they've been told is the right one. Over time, that sense of dissatisfaction builds, and even though the person might be succeeding by conventional standards, they're losing their sense of identity. They're slowly sacrificing their true self to meet someone else's expectations. This phenomenon can happen in all areas of life. Consider a person who stays in a relationship because they fear being alone, or because they don't want to let someone down, even though they know it's not the right relationship for them. Or maybe you've chosen to follow the traditional life script of getting a job, getting married, buying a house, and having children, even though those things don't really resonate with your true desires. When you live this way, you're allowing external factors to dictate how you spend your time and what your identity becomes. Instead of living with purpose and intention, you're letting life just happen to you. The real danger in living out of alignment with your values is that over time you can forget who you really are. You start to define yourself by the roles you play, the things you should be doing, and the expectations you're fulfilling, rather than by the things that make you uniquely you. You begin to see yourself as just another cog in the machine, lost in the shuffle of fulfilling external demands. And with every passing day, you lose a little more of your essence, your individuality, and your true potential. Now you might be thinking, but isn't it normal to have to make compromises? Don't we all have to make some sacrifices for the sake of family, society, or financial stability? And the answer is yes, of course. Life is full of compromises, and there are moments when it's necessary to put the needs of others ahead of our own. But there's a difference between making a temporary sacrifice for a greater cause and living in a constant state of misalignment with your values. If you're always sacrificing your true desires to please others, or if you're constantly living by the expectations of those around you, eventually you'll lose sight of who you are. You'll be living a life that's defined by external forces rather than by your own inner compass. The first step to realigning with your true self is recognizing when you've drifted. Take a moment to reflect on your life. Where are you currently investing your time? Is it in ways that align with your values and desires, or are you spending time doing things that don't truly matter to you? Are you trying to meet someone else's idea of success, or are you creating your own path? These are difficult questions, but they're necessary if you want to reconnect with your true identity. Once you've identified where your time is being misused, it's time to make some changes. Realigning with your true self is not an overnight process, but it starts with small, intentional steps. Begin by setting clear boundaries. It's important to prioritize your own values and needs, even if it means saying no to things that don't align with who you are. Start making decisions that reflect your true desires and let go of things that no longer serve you. Whether it's a job, a relationship, or a habit that's keeping you stuck, it's time to take back control of your life and start investing your time in ways that nourish your soul. Another powerful step in realigning with your identity is to spend more time doing what you love. Take a hard look at the activities that truly bring you joy, whether it's a hobby, a passion, or something that connects you to your purpose. These are the things that will help you reconnect with your true self and remind you of the person you're capable of becoming. When you make time for the things you love, you're not just spending time, you're investing in your identity. You're building the person you want to be, one intentional choice at a time. It's important to remember that realigning your time with your values isn't about being perfect or making dramatic changes overnight. It's about being intentional with how you spend your time, recognizing when you've gotten off track, and taking proactive steps to get back in alignment with your true self. As you begin to make these changes, you'll start to feel more connected to your purpose, more at peace with who you are, and more confident in your ability to create a life that reflects your deepest values. Reclaiming your time isn't just about being more productive, it's about becoming more of who you are meant to be. Every moment you spend in alignment with your true values is a moment that builds a stronger, more authentic sense of self. The more intentional you are with your time, the more connected you'll feel to your identity, and the more you'll step into the person you've always been capable of becoming. So take control of your time, take control of your identity, because the life you want is waiting, and it's up to you to create it. When we think about wasting time, the consequences often seem distant or abstract. It's easy to dismiss small distractions as harmless, a temporary slip from our otherwise productive routines. But the truth is, the impact of wasting time is far more profound than we often give it credit for. Wasting time doesn't just mean you're losing out on tasks, goals, or aspirations. It means you're losing something deeper, the opportunity to fully engage with life, to shape your future, and ultimately, to shape your identity. Each moment you let slip by without purpose is a moment you could have used to better understand yourself, to grow, or to make a meaningful contribution. And it's not just time that's slipping away, it's the chance to invest in the person you could be. When we fail to make deliberate use of our time, we inadvertently put off the things that matter the most to us. And in doing so, we're putting off the very essence of who we are meant to become. Identity isn't just built on grand gestures or major life decisions, it's built every single day in the small, quiet moments of our lives. Every choice you make about how to spend your time reflects your priorities, your values, and your beliefs. So when you allow time to pass without intentionality, you're allowing the person you are to slip further from who you want to become. This subtle erosion of self often goes unnoticed at first, but over time, the consequences are profound. Consider how time spent mindlessly scrolling through social media, watching endless episodes of a show you don't even enjoy, or engaging in activities that bring you no joy or satisfaction compounds over weeks, months, and years. The problem isn't just the moment of distraction, it's the accumulation of those moments that creates a life not defined by action, purpose, or growth, but by inertia. And it's not just a waste of time, it's a waste of identity. The more time you spend on mindless, unimportant tasks, the less you're investing in the things that will help you grow, challenge yourself, and ultimately define the person you want to be. This happens more often than we realize. It's so easy to fall into habits where we feel like we're busy, but are in fact doing nothing that adds value to our lives. It's tempting to avoid the difficult tasks, to fill the space with distractions that temporarily provide comfort or entertainment. But what happens in the long run is that these distractions slowly steal from your potential. You start to feel disconnected, overwhelmed, and unsure of who you really are. When you're not actively pursuing your goals or nurturing the relationships that matter, it's easy to feel like life is passing you by, leaving you stuck in a cycle of aimless existence. The longer this goes on, the more it affects your sense of self-worth. You start to question whether you're doing enough, whether you're capable of creating the life you want, or whether you've already missed your chance. This self-doubt creeps in, not because you're inherently incapable, but because you've been investing your time in ways that don't reflect the person you want to become. And this is where the danger of wasting time becomes particularly insidious. It slowly chips away at your confidence, your sense of purpose, and ultimately your identity. One of the most powerful consequences of wasting time is the erosion of your future self. Every moment you waste is a moment that could have been used to build the life you want. When we waste time, we aren't just putting off today's tasks, we're putting off the person we want to be tomorrow. This has a cumulative effect. Over time, small, seemingly insignificant choices accumulate into a life that doesn't align with your true desires or values. You begin to live in a way that feels disjointed, disconnected, and out of control. Your actions no longer match your aspirations, and you start to feel like a stranger to your own life. But here's the kicker. Once this cycle begins, it's incredibly difficult to break free from it. Time becomes your biggest enemy, and your growing sense of disconnection from your identity only adds to the difficulty of getting back on track. You start telling yourself that it's too late, that you've wasted too much time to change now. But the truth is, it's never too late to reclaim your time, and, in doing so, reclaim your identity. The first step in doing so is acknowledging the reality of time's impact on your life. Understand that every second you waste is a moment you could have used to define yourself more clearly, to get closer to your goals, or to engage in meaningful experiences. It's about understanding that wasting time is not just about missing out on a task. It's about missing out on the opportunity to become the person you are capable of being. Let's consider an example. Imagine a person who has a dream of starting a business but consistently puts it off. Every time they tell themselves they'll get started tomorrow, they are allowing time to pass without taking any real action. Over the course of months or years, they've allowed a dream to wither on the vine. They may rationalize this by saying they were too busy or there wasn't enough time. But in reality, it wasn't the absence of time, it was the failure to use the time they had. Now the dream feels farther away, and their sense of self begins to fray because they haven't taken the steps to turn that dream into reality. They start to question whether they're really capable of achieving their goals, and this self-doubt further alienates them from their true identity. On the other hand, imagine someone who has the same dream, but chooses to take small steps toward it every single day. Maybe they dedicate just 30 minutes a day to working on a business plan, or they start networking with people who could help. These small actions accumulate over time, building momentum and bringing them closer to their goal. Even though they haven't fully achieved their dream yet, their sense of self is strengthened by the consistent actions they're taking. They are building their identity as someone who follows through, takes action, and works toward their goals. The difference between these two people is not necessarily their potential or their resources, it's how they choose to spend their time. Time, when used intentionally, allows you to make progress, build self-confidence, and take action toward your dreams. But when time is wasted, that potential slowly slips away, leaving you with nothing but regrets and unfulfilled aspirations. So what can you do to stop wasting time and start reclaiming your identity? The first step is to take an honest look at where your time is going. What are the distractions or habits that are preventing you from moving forward? Where are you putting off the things that matter? Once you identify where you're losing time, you can start to make conscious choices to redirect it toward the things that align with your values and your goals. Start small. It doesn't have to be a complete overhaul of your life. Make small, intentional choices every day that bring you closer to your true self. Whether that's dedicating time to personal development, nurturing meaningful relationships, or working toward a long-term goal, make sure that every moment counts. The more time you invest in the things that matter, the more you will feel connected to your true identity. You will start to feel empowered, knowing that you are in control of your time, and in turn, your life. Remember, time is one of the most valuable resources you have. Don't let it slip away unnoticed. Start using your time to shape the person you want to become. Reclaim your identity by making intentional choices and investing in your future self. Because when you use your time wisely, you're not just getting things done, you're becoming the best version of yourself. When you waste time, it's easy to feel like you're only losing moments. But the reality is that you're losing far more than that. You're losing the chance to create the life you truly want. Every minute you let slip by without intention is a minute you could have spent building your future, improving yourself, or strengthening your relationships. The consequences of this go beyond just being unproductive. It's about the slow, silent erosion of your potential, your goals, and your identity. We don't often think about it in these terms, but every decision we make about how we spend our time shapes who we are becoming. And when we allow time to pass without purpose, we start to build an identity that is disconnected from who we really are or who we want to be. Time wasted doesn't just disappear into thin air. It accumulates. The more time you waste, the harder it becomes to build a life aligned with your values and aspirations. Every second spent on distractions, procrastination, or mindless activities is a second not spent on what matters most. Over time, these wasted moments stack up, and you find yourself far away from the person you've always wanted to become. The problem is that this process happens so slowly and quietly that you don't notice it until it's too late. You look back and realize that so many opportunities were missed, that you allowed external distractions to shape your life instead of your own intentions. The most insidious part of wasting time is that it makes you feel as though you're still doing something, even when you're not moving forward. Whether it's scrolling through social media, binge-watching TV shows, or endlessly putting off important tasks, you trick yourself into believing you're being productive or engaged. But in reality, you're only feeding into distractions. And each time you choose that distraction, you're telling yourself that your future self doesn't matter. You're saying that your goals, your dreams, and your sense of identity aren't worth the effort. It's a dangerous mindset that chips away at your confidence and your belief in yourself. The key to shifting this mindset is understanding that time is finite. You can't get it back once it's gone. So it's crucial to start using your time wisely, to start making conscious choices that support who you want to become. The more intentional you are with how you spend your time, the more aligned your actions will be with your goals, and the stronger your sense of self will become. It's not about filling every second with activity, but rather about making sure the time you do spend is invested in the things that matter most to you. When you start making time for the things that align with your identity and your values, you begin to reclaim your life. You start moving forward again, building the future you want and reinforcing your true self. At the end of the day, how you use your time directly impacts who you are. The choices you make today will shape the person you become tomorrow. So stop wasting time, because every moment is an opportunity to shape your identity, to live with purpose, and to create the life you deserve. It's time to take control. Every moment you spend wasting time isn't just a missed opportunity, it's a missed chance to redefine who you are. The reality of wasting time is that it doesn't just leave you with nothing, it slowly erodes your ability to make decisions, pursue your goals, and live the life you truly want. It's easy to think that time is something you can catch up on, but once it's gone for good. And with each passing day, you're not just losing hours, you're losing pieces of your identity. The way you spend your time directly influences how you see yourself and how you move through the world. Time is one of the most valuable resources you have. How you use it determines the kind of person you'll become. We often convince ourselves that the time we waste doesn't matter. After all, everyone procrastinates sometimes, right? Everyone takes breaks, watches TV, or scrolls through their phone. And while there's nothing inherently wrong with these activities in moderation, it's the habit of continually filling your time with distractions that ultimately causes the most harm. It's the constant avoidance of tasks, the endless cycle of putting things off, and the lack of intentionality in how we use our time that leads to a slow unraveling of our potential. Time wasted isn't just about getting behind on tasks, it's about losing confidence in your ability to take control of your life. Every time you put something off, you're reinforcing a pattern that tells you you're not capable, not disciplined, or not worthy of achieving your goal. Over time, this behavior erodes your belief in yourself and chips away at your sense of self-worth. You start to feel disconnected from the person you could be, the person you know you have the potential to become. But the good news is that it's never too late to take back control of your time, to make conscious decisions about how you spend your moments, and to realign with the identity you want to build. The truth is, when you waste time, you're not just wasting hours, you're letting opportunities to grow, to learn, and to connect slip by. And the more time you spend in a cycle of mindlessness, the further you move away from your true self. Time is a gift, and how you spend it defines who you are. But it's not just about filling time with busy work. It's about making sure that your time is spent meaningfully, in alignment with your values and goals. When you invest your time in personal growth, pursuing your passions, and engaging in meaningful relationships, you're actively shaping the person you want to become. The real key is to stop waiting for the perfect moment, to start living with intention. The best time to take action is right now. When you start using your time wisely, when you make the decision to spend your hours in ways that align with your goals, you begin to build the life and identity you've always wanted. So don't let time slip away any longer. Every moment you spend with purpose, every action you take toward becoming the person you aspire to be, brings you one step closer to the life you truly deserve. Time is your most precious resource, and it's time to start using it to build the future you want. As we wrap up, it's important to realize that time isn't just something we spend, it's something we shape. Every decision you make, every moment you live, plays a part in crafting your identity. The way you choose to spend your time isn't just about productivity or fulfilling obligations, it's about defining who you are and who you will become. The more intentional you are with your time, the more you'll start to align your actions with your values, your goals, and ultimately your true self. When we waste time, we aren't just losing hours, we're losing parts of ourselves. We're putting off the things that truly matter, and in the process, we disconnect from the person we want to be. The good news is that you can always take back control. It's never too late to stop wasting time and start using it to shape the life you want. Every small decision, every conscious choice to invest your time in what matters, builds the person you aspire to become. Think about it. The moments you invest in personal growth, in relationships, and in pursuing your passions are the moments that make you stronger, more connected, and more aligned with your authentic self. The more you align your time with your purpose, the more your identity will grow in a way that feels true and fulfilling. You don't need to wait for a better time. Start today. The life you want, the identity you want to build, begins with how you spend your time right now. So don't let time slip away unnoticed. Take charge of it. Reclaim your days, your hours, and your moments. Use them to become the person you are meant to be. Because the truth is, when you spend your time with purpose, you're not just getting through life, you're living it fully and authentically. And that's how you build a life that truly reflects who you are. Your time is yours to shape, and with each choice you make, you get one step closer to the future you deserve. So start now. Your future self will thank you for it.